Hey everybody, what's happening? Merry Christmas to all of you out there. And this is my hood, this is my barrio right here. And I decided what I'm gonna do is kind of do what Dodge Landsman does. Oh, look at this beautiful sight. Beautiful sight of bulk trash pickup. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, you know how Dodge Landsman goes for his walks and he just talks and you get to see what he's doing. I decided I'm going to do a little Dodge Landsman routine so that I could just talk and walk and let y'all know what's going on. And you guys can see the shitty city I live in of good old lovely uh, Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, beautiful neighborhood. Maybe we'll see some like slumped out tweakers if you're lucky, because they're kind of starting to come through the neighborhood streets. Oh, one thing I like about living here is, these gorgeous saguaros. One of the nice things about living in Arizona. I love cactus, saguaro cactus. There's a neighbor of mine who I'll show you here shortly, but his front yard is full of cactus, different types. He has like his own burglar alarm system because if you fall, say you try to break in this dude's house, and if you fall in his front yard, you're screwed because you're going to get pricked by about 50 different various cactus, however you want to say it. So, how's everybody doing? Hope you guys are doing well out there. I've just been keeping it kind of low key. No particular reason, just I don't know, got a lot of shit going on. And I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a content creator. I have this very strange and bizarre thing called a life where I have to like go in the real world and see what the fuck's going on. You know, taking care of business, so to speak. So, trying to get the right kind of view here. And quite frankly, I think a lot of us are feeling this way. It's sort of becoming an unsafe place, this YouTube world, because we have a bunch of people watching us that I don't think they're working with a full set of marbles. People that are just delusional and they think that they're living our lives and they think that they are us and they think that they are former Scientologists and they're really not. It's beyond me. I mean, we've always had at least like one or two delusionally obsessed people watching us. Stephanie Hutchinson comes to mind, if you remember her, the gal that thought she was Mike Rinder's guardian angel. But yeah, we have like a whole fucking flock of probably, I would say at least 3 or 4 fucking dozen minimum. And I just can't take it. This is the dude's yard I'm telling you about. Yeah, just check this out. His whole yard is just tons and tons of sharp, prickly cactus. It's absolutely beautiful, but yeah. Yeah, there's his alarm system. It's kind of funny, like I said, because if you accidentally slip and fall here, you're fucking toast, man. That's not gonna feel good. I remember one time I was going hiking and I fell on top of a barrel cactus once. Ass first, dude. I thought that I was like dead at first because the prickers on a barrel cactus, a large one, they're pretty long. I mean, I would say like 3 to 4 inches easily. Oh, here's a little barrel. Well, these are large barrel cactus. Yeah. Yeah, this is still his yard. Isn't that it's kind of fucking cool, huh? Badass. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, it's just becoming like an unsafe place for many of us, and to the point that it's uncomfortable. And I know if I deal with this on my level, all of the large content creators in the anti-Scientology realm, they got to be dealing with it like 10 times worse than I do. Um, you know, so hopefully something can be done about this eventually, because that's why a lot of us are just like, I'm out of here. It's not even fucking worth it. And there's a lot of anti-Scientology stuff that doesn't even go on YouTube. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on. I've said this before. Do you guys know that there's probably about another 100 second gens that you all have never even heard of or seen because they don't do YouTube? I refer to them as the smart ones. They're the smart second gens because they just know how absolutely batshit nuts and toxic it can be, and they just don't want to deal with it. So, I'm just going to share a few thoughts on my mind. And yeah, it's kind of sprinkling out right now, and a little bit of a cold front. It's like 80 degrees. It's so weird because it's like December, Christmas time. It's still fucking 80 degrees out here. It's not supposed to be 80 degrees in December, but I do live in the desert. Oh, look at that big truck. Look at that big truck, man. So, what I wanted to say is I understand that on YouTube, there's a financial incentive. If you're making a shitload of money, say on chats or however, if your channel is monetized. And I think YouTube incentivizes our fights. If you're making a shitload of money because you're airing your fights and your conflicts and you're making money off of that, yeah, it's going to give you an incentive to continue the drama and the chaos. But see, I'm not monetized. I have no incentive to fight people, have my drama and dirty laundry aired. And if there are certain people that want to do that, certain second gens, I think that's great. More power to them. I've always had the attitude of, YouTube's entire platform is so that people can get monetized, because the more money that content creators make, the more money Google makes. So if there are people that grew up in Scientology that can, make a living off of YouTubing, sharing their stories, hey, rock on, man. Jam out with your clam out. I just don't want any part of it. And certain people, if they're fighting and then they want to suck everyone else in, and this whole thing of like, you have to make a statement, and I've been hearing this, like, Marisa's silence just shows everything. My silence, dude, my silence is that I have a fucking life, okay? And whenever I peek into YouTube lately, it's such a cesspool of shit and piss and toxicity that I don't want to fucking deal with it. And I don't have to deal with it, and neither do any of you. I have been in a relationship. I know Slabonto is going to get jealous when he hears this. But yeah, I've met someone. Isn't this kind of cool? It's like a big, it's like a pine tree that you'd see in the forest. It's one good thing about this neighborhood. I love big trees. So, I've been single for 6 years. willingly. Because, my last relationship, I was with someone for 5 years. And then before him, I was with someone for 5 years before that. And I've always been a girlfriend, never been married by my own choice, because I don't believe in marriage. And marriage is going to be one of those things for me where it's one and done. I'm only going to get married one time. And I have yet to meet someone where I can imagine spending the next 30 to 40 years of my life with that person. Oh, and I know people are watching this like, oh, I know where she's at. I'm going to look up those street names. And my attitude is, good luck, motherfuckers, because I live in Arizona, where the 2A is alive and well. And if anybody wants to come to my house or do things, be my lucky guest. Mi casa is su casa. So, not even tripping about any of that, because I know some of you are like, oh, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to look up those street addresses. So, that saying, I wish a motherfucker would. That's my attitude. I wish a motherfucker would. So, anyways, back to the relationship stuff. So I've known this guy for 3 years. We decided to take it on a serious level about 8 months ago. And I told him, I was like, hey, babe, you're the last relationship I'm ever going to have. If things do not work out between you and I just don't think I'm ever going to be, I don't want to be in a relationship. As far as the Jenna and Aaron thing, this is my insight as having only experienced boyfriend and girlfriend relationships in my entire life. When you're a girlfriend, that means it's subject to change at any time. It's like, I am a girlfriend, and that's subject to change at any time, because my boyfriend could call me right now and break up with me. Likewise, he's my boyfriend, and that's subject to change at any time, because I could break up with him at any time if I want to. When you're in a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship, there's no obligation. You're not obligated or forced to stay with your partner. That's what boyfriend and girlfriend relationships are about. And by me saying that doesn't mean that I condone people cheating or doing things like that. I mean, I wouldn't want my boyfriend cheating on me, right? But there's a large reality of that possibly happening. And people keep bringing up, oh, I couldn't watch Marisa after she told Aaron that, all guys cheat, or whatever I fucking said. Let me tell you bozos something who have a problem with me saying that. What do you think the divorce rate is in America? I think it's about 50%, right? So that means about half of all marriages end in divorce. What do you think the breakup percentage is between boyfriends and girlfriends? So if the marriage rate is 50%, what's the breakup rate with boyfriend-girlfriend relationships? I don't know the exact number. I would say for me so far, my breakup rate is 100%, because I have been dumped, or I have dumped my boyfriend 100% of the time so far in my 47 years of life. So that's what I have to say about that. I don't really want to get lectured about relationships and female behavior by incels like Slabonzo and Boofs. I mean, ladies, do any of you take a look at either of those men and honestly look at them as experts on women and relationships? If some of you do think they're experts, hey, rock on. I'm glad that men like that have women, bottom feeding women around, because hey, everybody needs a partner. There's someone out there for everyone, right? Both Boofs and Slabonzo hopefully will meet a lady someday that will deal with their fucking crazy bullshit. I'm just glad that that lady is not me, because I have something called standards. But when somebody as a woman and as a girlfriend and somebody who has faced relationship problems, men can be assholes and women can be bitches. That's why relationships can suck. And I just don't see what's going on in the anti-Scientology sphere. Again, I don't call it a community for a few reasons. Because when you start saying a community, then you start feeling like you're obligated to, have to do and say certain things for the community. I refer to this as a movement, okay? Because you don't hear this word community. Do you ever hear of the, anti-racism community or the anti-ICE community? No, they're called movements. So I prefer that because I can march to the beat of my own drum. I don't have to fucking cower to pressure, and I don't have to impress anyone. I can just think and do whatever the fuck I want, basically. Isn't that a cool flag? So, look at these lovely streets. Oh, our tax dollars at work, people. So, I know I'm probably jumping around all over the place here, but, my advice to any woman out there that's going through relationship problems, hate to bust anyone's happy bubbles, but yeah, when you're a girlfriend, no one is obligated or forced to have to stay with you. And getting angry because your boyfriend doesn't like you back or you feel like he's not treating you the right way, you can't force someone to love you. You can't force somebody to want to stay with you forever. And it's a tough pill to swallow. I've had to deal with that before, where I've really, really have fallen in love with someone and the feeling is not mutual. It's a tough pill because it's a feeling of rejection, essentially. So my advice to women is to stay strong, and we don't need to be codependent on our boyfriend's approval to feel great, to feel good about ourselves. You know what I mean? So there's that. And like, I made a community post on my wall. I'm not going to make any statements. I'm not making any statements about Aaron. Why? Like, what purpose does it serve? And first of all, who wants me to make this statement? Is there like a leader of the anti-Scientology movement where I have to obey their orders and jump and make announcements? No, I don't think so. So, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. We just make things a lot more complicated than what they need to be, in my personal opinion. And I will tell you one thing, though. As a woman, when I think of the oppression and discrimination and abuses that women face, that I have faced, when I jump into this YouTube world, in the anti-Scientology sphere of YouTube, this is not how I live my life. Like, the problems that people have, it just sounds very like, it's not real world problems, women. When you have to put into perspective all the bullshit that we have to fucking go through. And then there's a bunch of women on here who think they're leading some kind of women's suffrage movement, which is goddamn embarrassing. I'm sorry, and no disrespect to anyone, but when Jenna and Aaron get in a fight, I do not feel like I am a part of a women's suffrage movement where we're speaking out against some life or death shit that's going to define who we are as women. You know, I just don't do well with virtue signalers. I don't do well with women crying about things that are not worth fucking crying about. And I'm sorry if that offends anyone. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask for a statement or advice anyways, because my threshold for insanity and what I consider abuse, I have a pretty high threshold. I can take a lot of abuse and I can deal with a lot of insanity. So a lot of this, what I see going on here, feels like a bunch of Karens. And when I say Karens, I'm talking about, you know, the women that are overly, I guess, irrational and hysterical. You know, the kind that's like, oh my God, I'm going to call the cops because that black man looked at me the wrong way. Or, you know, just screaming and crying because you don't get your own way or someone hurts your feelings. To me, that's Karen behavior. And I'm not a fucking Karen. And I just don't get along with Karens. That I don't get along with Karens that well, or women who behave like Karens. And as a woman, I can pretty much set my own boundaries and rules for myself. I don't need group acceptance. I don't need to go by a herd mentality in YouTube as far as like what all of like some of the hysterical Karens in this movement expect me to do. Because it's unrealistic to me. I don't fucking get a lot of those people that are watching us. And I think those of us second gens and ex-Scientologists, we really need, I'm walking by that guy's house again. We need to ask ourselves, what type of audience do we want to appeal to? Do we want to make our audience primarily a bunch of irrational Karens that go hysterical over everything? I mean, it's ridiculous. We'll take Liz Gale, for example, and all these women, they're like, oh my God, Liz Gale is drinking. Oh my good Lord. Or me. You know, oh my God, Marissa's stoned again and drinking. You bet your fucking sweet ass I am. We're fucking, like, in our mid-40s, you guys. Most of us second gens, we are all middle-aged adults. We're not fucking babies, okay? We're not little kids. We're not toddlers. We are adults, and if we want to drink or ingest certain substances, that's our right to do so. So, again, like, what kind of audience do we want, people? I really don't like having a bunch of crazed, delusional lunatics watching us who falsely believe that they are living in our worlds and our lives, who delusionally believe that they are anti-Scientologists. That shit makes me feel very uncomfortable. And again, it's just not a safe place. This is becoming an unsafe space for many of us. And I think some of us second gens need to be a little more consciously aware and mindful that some of the people watching us are dealing with some heavy-duty mental health struggles, and we shouldn't be encouraging them to go down these dark paths or dark rabbit holes of getting emotionally involved with things like Jenna and Aaron's relationship, or any personal battles, because some of these people are not thinking with the full set of marbles. And, you know, we'll take Boofs, for example. That dude obviously is not working with a full set of marbles. I just saw him last week going through psychosis in his van. I've seen him 3 times so far in live feeds of his, which I try not to watch. And when I do, I only peek in for like 1 minute. But the few times I've peeked in, maybe it's just my luck, I always peek in when he's going through psychosis. And it's not a pretty sight. It's actually pretty fucking scary. Because the last thing I want to see happening is Boofs ramming his car through, or ramming his van through a crowd of people, or pulling a fucking Rob Reiner on somebody. And Boofs has all the markings for that. And so do a few of his fans. I could totally see them, doing some fucking crazy shit where they get hurt or they end up killing someone. And, we shouldn't be encouraging people like that to get further involved in our Scientology world. It's not good for them, and it's not good for us. And people, if you want to protest Scientology, protesting is a thankless endeavor. You don't protest because you want us to thank you 50 million times or pat you on the head and make announcements of what a wonderful person you are for protesting. And you people who call yourself protesters, and I'm going to bring up two of the largest protest movements in America currently. I would have to say it's the pro-Palestinian protests and the ICE protests. Now, would you people who say that you are anti-Scientology protesters, would you go to an ICE protest and tell a bunch of immigrants that they need to thank you because your white ass decided to show up and protest for them? No, I doubt you would, because you'd probably get your asses beat. So if you wouldn't do it at an ICE protest, or if you wouldn't tell Palestinian Americans to be thankful for you showing up and protesting, why do you do it with us? Again, protesting is a thankless endeavor. You people should be protesting because you have a giant cult posed as a religion sitting in your backyard in the year 2025 in the United States of America. You should be protesting because of that. You don't protest for Aaron or Jenna or me. And it seems like a lot of you guys are protesting because you want attention, which I will never understand. And if you're protesting for attention, that's called virtue signaling. And I think Boofs, if anything, is the largest example of a virtue signaler that I have ever seen. Because all the dude does is cry about how he's not getting attention. He cries. It's like, Boofs, shut the fuck up, dude. You have the emotional intelligence of a fucking 12-year-old. And I think many of us are just tired of fucking hearing you screaming and having psychotic episodes and temper tantrums. You're a 45-year-old man, or however old you are. You want to talk about abuse? Boofs continuously talks about Lara and how she fair gamed him. That's like, no, Boofs, she dumped your ass. Probably because you treated her like shit. And if your behavior and your lives is any indication of like how you are in your real life, any woman with an ounce of sanity would have broken up with your ass. Okay, it's not fair gaming. It's just sometimes women are not going to be interested in you. And so you're saying that you got fair gamed. So what do you mean? Like if a woman ever breaks up with you, it means it's like a secret plot from the CIA. You can't just take responsibility and say, hey, I fucked up. Maybe next time, my next relationship, I'll do a better job. You can't just look at it that way, which is like what most normal men would think. So, and I don't even know why the fuck I'm talking about Boofs. I just think it's because a lot of this toxicity that we see has been brought into this anti-Scientology movement because of him. And Boofs, you're not fighting a crusade against Scientology. That's another reason why a lot of us don't care or pay attention to you. You're not fighting this amazing crusade. You're being prosecuted by the city of Los Angeles. and I've seen enough footage. You're going around acting like you're the mayor of LA, throwing street barricades around, ripping posters off, doing this and that, like it's your fucking property. And the hate crime stuff. What do you think would happen if you went to a Catholic church and ripped posters off of a Catholic church wall? It'd be a hate crime, especially in the state of California. You just picked the wrong state to do stupid shit in, bud. Lesson learned. Hopefully you don't do it again going forward. Now, as far as Slobonzo, because I'm going to put like a final nail in the coffin about the Slobonzo mess. So, and this is another example of delusional insanity and people that follow us that live in a very strange universe that's not called reality. Slobonzo thought that he was actually going to have a federal lawsuit or indictment against me so that he could have the legal right to write fictitious and sexualized blog articles about me using my first and last name. He thought he was going to have like a legal crusade, as he referred to it, as freedom of speech and his fair use rights. Which, good Lord, I'm trying not to laugh my ass off as I talk about this. But yeah, Slobonzo, I think you need to just realize that, no, dude, your situation and mine had absolutely nothing to do with fair use rights. And I'm sure you know, after your ridiculous FBI attempt, I hope you realize and learned a lesson from this, that what you did was absolutely the most fucking moronic thing that I've ever experienced. It's so moronic, it's fucking hilarious. I mean, so it's hard for me to take shit like this seriously with people like Boofs and Slobonzo because they're a joke. And it's fucking goddamn funny to me. So it's kind of hard to fight someone like me when I think the whole thing is a hilarious joke and you guys are getting like angry and in an uproar over it, and I'm just sitting here laughing my fucking ass off. So, take it as hopefully take this as a lesson learned, Slobonzo, to stop harassing me. And no, like I said before in one of my previous videos, you have a right to freedom of speech, but you do not have a right to harass and stalk people and write revenge blog articles about them. So the law was on my side with this. I'm sure they told Slobonzo, do you know Marisa Sigmund? And he would have to say no. And they would have to ask him, have you ever met Marisa Sigmund? And Slobonzo would have to say no. And then they were going to ask Slobonzo, then why are you writing about her? And I'm sure this was a harsh reality for Slobonzo to come to terms with, that he looks like a complete, unhinged cyber stalker, because he is. So there is no federal case. I'm sorry for all of you women out there that want to slob on Slobonzo's knob. He's free. He's single. Last I heard, ladies, go get him. But yeah, he's not going to have a federal case against me. And what I think is funny is the only people I see who get overly invested in our legal situations and all of the ridiculousness that comes from within, the only people that find this shit interesting are amateur detectives and people who don't understand our fucking legal system. The only people I know that think this shit's fucking interesting, because it's actually very stupid and moronic. I gotta get going here, you guys. It's Christmas Eve. Oh, look at that big plane. Can you guys see it? Actually, no, I can't see it. Oh, well. There's going to be more, but I just wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And sorry that there's not going to be a women's suffrage movement statement from me, because I'm just not feeling it. I really don't feel like this is a passionate struggle for women around the world, where we are uniting in solidarity because of Jenna and Aaron's relationship patterns. I'm just not feeling it as a woman. No, it's got to be a little bit more of a struggle. I have to see a little more oppression and abuse going on for me to really give two fucks. And sorry if that's like a tough pill for some of you to swallow. Anyways, take care. Love y'all. And Merry Christmas.